Hi everyone, welcome to Self-Love Saturday. We have not done one of these in a while.
No.
So it's time to get back into the
Yeah.
routine of loving ourselves.
Yes.
Today we are going to talk about stop deflecting and start reflecting. And this topic is one where we have a tendency sometimes as people to deflect, to when we start to feel emotions that don't necessarily feel good, we start looking outside of ourselves. We deflect the emotions. We cover them up by staying at work too late and just putting ourselves into tasks and activities and burying ourselves in that. Or possibly we eat more, or we sleep more, or we shop more, and we cover up those uncomfortable feelings with stuff. And this tip is all about how we can stop deflecting, pushing those emotions aside and filling that void with things, or things like sleeping or burying ourselves in actions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. A couple of the tips to really dive into with this is, one, as she said, just recognition, which is great, and that's the first step. But recognition is only just the start. The real truth here with the recognition and moving forward is the reflection part. You're really taking the time to dive in and understand why. If we are staying at work too late, why? If we're eating too much, why? If we're drinking, why? All of these other things that we are going outside of ourselves, why are we doing it? I know, and sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's tough to really look into ourselves and understand and confront that pain, that discomfort. It's not easy, but through that, we are able to move ourselves out of it. One of the ways that we can do that is, we've got two tips today. One is a focus on writing, and another one is audio based. And so people learn different ways, people shift in different ways. And so let's take the example of maybe you're like most of us out there that stay at work too late. Definitely been there. I'm sure you've been there.
Definitely been there.
So, when we catch ourselves and, okay, we know it's supposed to be the whole 9 to 5, it's supposed to stop at 5, and we got that one last thing to do, or couple things, we can just knock it out in a couple minutes, no problem. And that couple minutes turns into a couple hours, and before we know it, we're there and it's like 10 o'clock, and we're just like, what? How did this happen? I've definitely been there. And one of the ways to get yourself out of something like that is to bring awareness to it, and maybe even start a log, whether you like to write or you prefer maybe an audio tape or something. Just taking the time to bring awareness to it. So if you are there, it's 5 o'clock, you say, hey, I'm going to stay for a little bit longer and take care of this, deadline, all these other things that we need to do. And then you realize you're there till 10, maybe when you do that, take a minute to just write down what you're feeling in that moment. Why did I stay there? Why is it? Because I actually really enjoy doing this work? Hey, and if that's the case, then at least that's a great way to reinforce for yourself. If you don't, is it because you don't desire to be home? If so, why don't you desire to be home? Is it because you're a little bit scared about being social? If so, why are you scared to be social with people and interact? None of these are wrong. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's just simply taking the time to observe how we can shift the cycles in our lives that we just, aren't serving us. Once we have taken the time to do that log and share understanding our feelings, it might take more than a few times to really break that cycle. But another thing you can do is always set a reminder on your phone saying, hey, I'm going to set one at 5 telling me, hey, this is the end of the day, and then one again at 6 to make sure in case I haven't left, hey, Austin, it's time to leave. You need to get out of here. You need to enjoy your life. You need to go home. You need to go out, grab a drink, relax, do whatever you need to do. and just be you, not be stressed, not put yourself down, those kind of things. Get yourself away and confront those things so you can have a better way of life.
Yes. Self-care is very important. If you find that there's a repeat pattern in the example Austin used about, you're staying at work late so often, and even if it's, well, I have to in order to maintain my job, then it's a great way to say, well, if I'm working this much, then maybe it's time to shift my role for my own health. But it's important to see these patterns so we can step outside of them and find ways to shift these cycles, to truly take care of ourselves. That is self-love.
Absolutely. Wonderfully said. Well, thank you for joining us today. Those are our quick tips for Self-Love Saturday. If you have any questions or maybe some experiences you went through that you'd like to share with us, and we'd be happy to throw a few ideas back your way, or if you said, hey, this is what assisted me out of this cycle, feel free to share. I'm sure others could definitely use examples like that. You never know who you might assist just by sharing your accomplishments and movements out of something that didn't really work, that wasn't serving you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Enjoy. Namaste.
Namaste.